All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So we did a video kind of doing the backstory, the breakdown on new Jets defensive coordinator Steve Wilks, someone who's been around the game for a long, long time, right? Chargers, Panthers, right? Small stints, Cleveland, 49ers, obviously Arizona Cardinals head coach. But in any case, in this one, I wanted to focus in on the new Jets offensive coordinator, Tanner Engstrand, because I feel like with Tanner, it's more so that question mark, right? He hasn't been an NFL offensive coordinator before. It's not like he has. We can go back and watch 50 different press conferences. It's not really like Steve Wilks at all. And another thing, too, to factor in is Aaron Glenn is coming in from the defensive side of the football. Yes, of course, he's worked on the offensive side, in meetings and whatnot, and it seems like he's really trying to have an input and influencing the offense to a certain degree. And we all know about Glenn's scouting background as well. But the bottom line is Aaron Glenn, at his core, former DB, came up through the coaching ranks as a defensive, on that defensive side of the football. So, in other words, I don't really think it's going to be like complete Robert Saleh, Mike LaFleur, Robert Saleh, Nathaniel Hackett / Todd Downing, right? Rex Ryan, Brian Schottenheimer, Todd Bowles, Jeremy Bates, where it's just, hey, I'm the defensive-minded head coach. I'm going to handle my side. You handle the offensive side. And obviously in today's day and age, right, it's all about points. It's all about first downs, ball control. The game is tailored around offensive football. So, you can have that great defense, but if your offense can't get in the end zone, if they can't score points, the chances of you winning a lot of football games are pretty slim. So we have to make sure that the offensive side of the football is actually relevant, right? I mean, threatening is one word, but can we be relevant? So Ingstrand has a lot of responsibilities here. Let's dive into his backstory, right? So he really got into coaching back in 2005 with the University of San Diego, right? 2005, 2006, he was a grad assistant under, of course, Jim Harbaugh. Now, he spent a ton of time with that program. Again, 2005 up until 2017. I mean, that is such a long time with one specific program, and he did a great job of working his way up, right? Again, starting out as a GA, which is kind of that opening, that entry level position under, of course, a great coach here in Harbaugh, but he's worked with the running backs, right? Running back coach. He's worked with the quarterbacks, quarterback coach. He called plays, offensive coordinator. He was the assistant head coach at the end of his San Diego tenure. And after his period with San Diego, he joined Michigan, right? 2018 as an offensive analyst, right? Rejoining Jim Harbaugh. Now, he was only with Michigan for that one season because an opportunity opened up in the XFL to become the DC Defenders offensive coordinator and RB coach. So he took that opportunity. Short season, the XFL, ended up just kind of disbanding at that point in time. That was like that 2019-ish, 2020 era. So, right around the time of the virus. But in any case, after his short stint with the XFL, joins the Detroit Lions as a quality control coach. Again, that entry-level position. He became the tight ends coach in 2022 and passing game coordinator that same year, and held that position up through 2024 at this past season. Now, I think for me, my favorite thing about Ingstrand's career so far, when you just take a look at it, really in like a bulk setting, he's really worked his way up. Right, first and foremost, he's in his early 40s, so he's a young guy, but starting out as a GA, that's the entry level, that's the first floor at San Diego back in college. 20 years later, now becoming the Jets offensive coordinator. That's 20 years. 20 years of experience, 20 years working with different positions, tight ends 1 year, quarterbacks 1 year, offensive coordinator calling plays. He's worked with running backs before. He's been assistant head coach. And one thing that's, I think, pretty obvious when you take a look at his career so far, nothing has been given to him. He's really had to earn these positions. It's not, he's Bill Belichick's son or anything. No, 20 years of working his way up. College level, XFL, NFL, right? Really trying to find his way, and I think that's really, for me, the most impressive thing about his path. Former player, too, by the way. Former quarterback back with San Diego State and the Aztecs way back when. But, I think when we're talking about, or maybe like on the surface, it's easy to look at Tanner Engstrand and say, okay, he's never been an offensive coordinator at the NFL level before. He's in his early 40s. How much can this guy really know? But then when you take a look at the backstory and understand, okay, you know what, he's really had to climb the ranks. And we all know, coaching, especially at the professional level, there are guys ready to take your job like that, right? There are guys with connections, guys that can get their foot in the door. And with Tanner here, again, it really seems like he's paid his dues. Not to mention, he's worked with and coached under, learned from some really, really impressive coaches along the way. Again, Jim Harbaugh back in those couple years with San Diego. Fast forward 2018 with Jim Harbaugh again. Pep Hamilton was on that staff. Don Brown was on that staff. Sharon Moore, the current head coach with Michigan, was on that 2018 Michigan Wolverine staff. He followed Pep Hamilton to the XFL, and Hamilton is you take a look at his coaching backstory. I think he actually was a wide receiver coach for the Jets way back, just years and years and years ago. But he's really bounced around. He's been on a ton of different staffs. And when people talk about just like X's and O's and just knowledge of the game, Pep Hamilton is very, he's in a pretty high regard. He's held in a high regard. He was most recently, I believe he was the Texans offensive coordinator. But in any case, you have that group, and then the obvious Detroit Lions, Aaron Glenn, new Jets head coach, right? And we could talk about his lineage with Pete Carroll, Bill Parcells, all these different guys, Sean Payton, Ingstrand working with Dan Campbell on that staff. We could talk about Ben Johnson. Anthony Lynn was a part of that, early Detroit Lions days before Ben Johnson took over. And that's someone with head coaching experience who's been around the game, also another former Jets coach. So there's ties here. There's coaching ties. I just don't... Whenever you're talking about a coach who has worked under numerous great coaches, those great coaches, the Harbaughs, the Campbells, they know the importance of staff building. They're not just slapping together a staff. All right, yeah, we'll hire this guy at running back coach and he could be the offensive quality coach. No, it's very detailed. It's calculated. It's a pretty highly invested approach. And for Tanner Engstrand, again, you're factoring in everything. The 20 years of experience working under these great coaches, working his way up from the bottom level to where he is now, understanding that nothing has been given to him, everything has been earned. He is a former player, and he was handpicked by Aaron Glenn because we could have went with the veteran route. I was actually clamoring for like a veteran offensive coordinator, but that's not what Glenn did. He went with the first-year guy here in Tanner Engstrand. So let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. I think one thing I'm really, really looking forward to, once training camp really kicks off, first off, I'm hoping that the Jets actually post this like on their social medias, but I'm really excited to dive into like Tanner Engstrand press conferences with the Jets. I don't know if it's like an NFL rule now or not. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think I think like the OC and DC meet with the media a lot more during the season, because I remember watching a ton of Aaron Glenn press conferences, right? A ton of Brian Flores press conferences throughout the year. I don't know if it's a weekly thing, a monthly thing, or what, but like back in the day, they just never really met with the media all that much. Like thinking back to like Mike LaFleur press conferences, just didn't really happen all that much, like once in a blue moon. But think of all the times that, again, Aaron Glenn met with the media last year. Ben Johnson met with the media last year. I don't know how, this regime is going to operate or what the exact rule is, but it's definitely something I'm excited about for sure. So anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you guys. And as always, go Jets.